What's up, guys? Welcome to the 2020 NFL Mock Draft Post Free Agency. I'm your host, Andrew Erickson. You can find me on Twitter at @AndrewErickson_. And let's dive right in. We've got a whole 32 pick first round mock draft to go over here, so let's get going. The first pick, Joe Burrow. So these picks right here, the first couple picks here, the first three with the Bengals, the Washington Redskins, and the Detroit Lions are pretty chalky, to be totally honest. You got Joe Burrow from LSU, who's going to be coming in, being the quarterback for the Bengals. I don't think you got to overthink it. He's locked in. He's going to be the quarterback there. At number 2, the Washington Redskins are going to be going with Chase Young at the edge. He's the best defensive player in the draft. Redskins needed a lot of help. Just get the best player. They're going with Chase Young. And at number 3, Jeffrey Okudah, the best cornerback in this class. The Lions showed us their hand by trading away Darius Slay, so they need to improve at the cornerback position, so they're going to go with Jeffrey Okudah. Now, at pick number 4, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. So I'm going to go with the Giants, going with Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle. Dave Gettleman loves his big hog mollies up front, up on the offensive line, on the defensive line, so they're going to get some extra protection for their young quarterback in Daniel Jones. So I like Jedrick Wills there at number 4. At number 5, Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback from Alabama, going to the Miami Dolphins. Miami has been tanking this whole time to get Tua, and eventually now Tua's stock tanks a little bit himself because of his injury concerns. We saw last week Miami tried to get Tua into the building before the whole coronavirus thing broke out and basically stopped all types of travel. Miami tried to get Tua and sneak him in for some pre-draft visits. So I think that's just kind of showing what Miami thinks about Tua. They're interested in him, and then they have an extra year. They don't need to start him right away. They can start Fitzpatrick, ride him out, make sure Tua is 100% ready to go, and then in 2021, they can unleash him, and then they can try to take over the AFC East and do what the Patriots did for the past 20 years. We shall see. Now, next up, we're going back-to-back quarterbacks with the Chargers. We're going with Justin Herbert. That's right, Justin Herbert from Oregon. He's coming in, and he's going to then switch out his O for a nice LA hat. That's what's going to be happening here, guys. Justin Herbert going to the Los Angeles Chargers. Right now, Tyrod Taylor is the only quarterback on the roster. I think that he's a fine starter for right now, but ultimately, if they're trying to take the next step, the Chargers have a win-now defense, and they need someone to push Tyrod Taylor, and then they need a quarterback of the future. Tyrod Taylor is not the future. Justin Herbert is the future there at quarterback, so they are going to be taking him at number 6. At number 7, Isaiah Simmons going to the Carolina Panthers. They need a face to this defense. They don't have one. They got rid of Luke Kuechly. They traded him away, or he retired. They just don't have a face to that defense anymore, and that defense was terrible last year, ranking number 1 worst against the rush. So they need a new face. They need speed on defense. Isaiah Simmons fits the mold there from Clemson. At number 8, now this might be a very polarizing pick. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I don't care that the Cardinals went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. I think that's great for Kyler Murray, but I think that ultimately at the end of the day, for the Cliff Kingsbury system to work effectively, they need a lot of really good wide receivers. And behind, you have DeAndre Hopkins, you have Christian Kirk. Larry Fitzgerald's not getting any younger. And you have Andy Isabella and Hakeem Butler, a bunch of guys that still haven't proven themselves. CeeDee Lamb is a proven commodity entering the NFL. As a rookie wide receiver, he's shown so much more than a lot of these other guys. And we know that he's proven to have success with their quarterback in Kyler Murray. So I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb to pair with DeAndre Hopkins to really unleash Kyler Murray in year 2. They already took care of a lot of offensive line worries already. DJ Humphries they signed. They also signed Justin Murray. So I think they're going to just, have an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position. And they're going to go after a guy like CeeDee Lamb. At number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have basically traded away their whole defense. Calais Campbell is gone. Jalen Ramsey's gone. AJ Boye is gone. So they need to get some defensive help. They need like Carolina, like a face of the defense. Derek Brown from Auburn. He's someone that can be disruptive in the middle of the field. So that's what I'm going with. Derek Brown, you compare him with Josh Allen, who they drafted last year in the first round as well. At number 10, the Browns. They need help at left tackle because Greg Robinson, that guy's in jail somewhere. So Jack Conklin's going to be filling in at right tackle, obviously. Mekhi Becton will come in and fill in at left tackle. Really help shore up that offensive line for Baker Mayfield to make sure that he doesn't ultimately end up getting sacked and regressing further into his abyss that he did in year 2. At number 11, we have the New York Jets, who have been, like the Browns, revamping their O-line all this offseason. They signed McGovern, who's going to be the center. They signed George Fant, who's going to be the left tackle. Greg Van Roten, another guy who's going to be a guard. Josh Andrews is another guard. Alex Lewis is a left guard. So basically, they've covered every position except for right tackle. So that's where I like Tristan Wirfs here. I think that he can fill in there. They really need to just retool the entire offensive line because it was abysmal last year. Make sure that Sam Darnold's protected, number one, and that Le'Veon Bell, the running back they already paid a lot of money to, has actually space to operate so that we can actually use him in fantasy football. Now, moving on to number 12, the Las Vegas Raiders, still getting used to it. Henry Ruggs. I think that they are going to go with the speed guy, the guy that runs the 4.27, 42-inch vertical, that he's just going to open up a lot of things for the underneath receivers like Darren Waller and like Hunter Renfrow. I think that, ultimately they're going to fall in love with his speed here, and that's why they're going to take Henry Ruggs. At number 13, we're going to go with the second Alabama wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy. Wide receiver, he's got a lot of comparisons to guys like Odell Beckham Jr., Kyle Shanahan would be perfect. And Odell Beckham Jr., that type of combination would be so great. And we almost saw it happen. Dave Gettleman just refused to trade to the NFC, though, when OBJ ended up getting traded to getting traded to the Cleveland Browns last year. So I think that Jerry Jeudy makes the most sense here. Emmanuel Sanders is now gone. You pair him with Deebo Samuel as different wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy's a great route runner, and he would just be perfect in that Kyle Shanahan offense. Get him. At number 13, they made that big splash play with DeForest Buckner to get the first-round pick, and I think this is who they get with that first-round pick in Jerry Jeudy. At number 14, the newest home in the New England Patriots, we've got Grant Delpit. They really need help in the secondary. He is the best secondary player, and again, you got my guy from LSU in Grant Delpit, so we're going to go with him at safety because their offense is going to be fine. They're bringing in free agents at the offensive line position. I do believe that, though, the secondary is the weakest part of their defense. Their run defense is excellent, but number one in the league last year. So Grant Delpit's the pick at number 14. At number 15, Trevon Diggs. The Broncos need another left cornerback. Callahan is going to play the slot. A.J. Boye is going to play on the right side. And Bama played a lot of base nickel defense last season. So Trevon Diggs is going to be used to being in three cornerback sets. That's basically the standard now in the NFL with so many three wide receiver sets. So Trevon Diggs is going to fill in as the best outside cornerback left on the board for the Denver Broncos. At number 16, we're halfway through, guys. Atlanta Falcons, K'Lavon Chaisson, another LSU guy. Here we go. They already had added Dante Fowler to help the pass rush, but again, they need more because that defense needs a lot of help. Their offense is fine with Matt Ryan, so adding an edge guy like Chaisson will really help bring the pressure for when they do get leads and they can get off to the passer. They're going to be guys that need to get off to Tom Brady. It's going to have to happen. At number 17, the Dallas Cowboys. They lost Byron Jones in free agency, but they added a lot of other cornerbacks back. Maurice Candy, Anthony Brown. They added Clinton Dix at safety. So I'm not so sure that they're going to necessarily go with a corner right now or a secondary player. That may be something they address later on. But I think that from a talent standpoint, Javon Kinlaw at D-line is just the best option for them to really just have a guy that makes disruptive plays. It just makes noise. Comparing him with DeMarcus Lawrence on the defensive line makes a lot of sense. And they need guys that can make immediate impacts right now. So Javon Kinlaw is a game wrecker for sure in the middle of that defensive line. At number 18, we've got the Miami Dolphins back on the clock. Andrew Thomas. They've already got their quarterback of the future. They need to build out the offensive line a little bit more. That starts with left tackle Andrew Thomas. At number 19, the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, they're going to go with a corner because they ranked absolutely 32nd in the league in terms of pass secondary last year. C.J. Henderson from Florida fits the mold perfectly. They need a quarterback. That's who the best guy on the board that's available. They're going to go with him. Same thing kind of goes for a number 20 pick here with Jacksonville. They need another corner because, again, like I mentioned before, they traded everybody away. So they took a defensive lineman last round, and now they grab a premier cornerback in Christian Fulton. Here we go, Christian Fulton, LSU. That's what they're going to go with because they definitely need some help on the back end. At number 21, you have the Philadelphia Eagles on the clock. They lost Malcolm Jenkins this offseason to the Saints. So they're going to bring in a safety, Xavier McKinney. He's a guaranteed tackler. He's a big playmaker. It just makes a lot of sense from a fit standpoint for him to go into that Eagles secondary that needs kind of some molding together so they're not like a scrapped together piece of work like they've been in the last couple seasons. At number 22, we've got Jeff Gladney going to the Minnesota Vikings. They don't really have any cornerbacks left. They got Mike Hughes, and that's pretty much it. You got Gladden. He's nasty, physical, sticky, and swagger are the best descriptive words for him. And that he checks all the boxes for the Mike Zimmer defense, excuse me. So I really like him. I like his tenacity, the swag that he brings. That's who they're going to go with for the Minnesota Vikings at pick number 22. At number 23, you've got your New England Patriots. Here we go. New England Patriots. Yep, here we go. Gonna bring the heat. The New England Patriots. And they're gonna go with AJ Epinesa. He makes a lot of sense from a scheme fit. He's a dynamic player. He kind of reminds me a lot of Trey Flowers. It's who he's kind of been compared to as a defensive lineman. He's a hybrid guy. The Patriots lost a lot of defensive players this past offseason, losing them to free agency. So they got a lot of comp picks, and I think that it starts out with AJ Epinesa, who they take in the first round. They're not going quarterback here. Jared Stidham is the truth. He's the future. Brian Hoyer is not going to be competing in anytime soon. Jared Stidham's going to be the starter, guys. I'm just saying that right now. So AJ Epinesa is the play there at number 23 for the Patriots. At number 24, the Saints are on the board, and they need a linebacker here. So they're not going to address receiver. They did already draft. They signed Emmanuel Sanders, so I'm going to go with Kenneth Murray. They need to build a roster that's ready for a postseason run. Right now, the linebacking core is a little underwhelming for the Saints, so I think Kenneth Murray helps provide someone that's a starter from day one, that's physical, athletic, has speed, and to pair with Demario Davis. Because the Saints are going to be in some wild games this year with the Falcons, with the Bucs, with the Carolina Panthers. Like a lot of offenses that can put up some points, hopefully. Maybe not Carolina as much, but some of those teams like the Falcons and the Bucs are going to put up points. So the Saints defense has got to step up a little bit more than they have in years past. At number 25, the Minnesota Vikings need to address the wide receiver position like I mentioned. Justin Jefferson. He fits the mold perfectly from a guy that's a player that can dominate out of the slot. And again, he's from LSU. And we've seen Kirk Cousins really produce with guys from the slot, whether it was Adam Thielen, whether it was Stephon Diggs moving from the outside to the inside, and whether it was Jameson Crowder one of his times in the Redskins. So I like Justin Jefferson to really fit the mold there for the Minnesota Vikings as a player that can really help contribute from day one for the Minnesota Vikings. At number 26, the Dolphins are on the clock again with their third pick in the first round. And yes, it is a running back, Jonathan Taylor. He is the best running back in this class, in my opinion. And I think they take the running back of the future in their first round. They don't necessarily need to drive him into use him a lot this year. They have Jordan Howard. I know for fantasy owners, it may be a frustrating landing spot. But again, Jonathan Taylor, he'll be their running back of the future that they will then ride with Tua Tagovailoa whenever Tua ends up starting in 2021 for the Miami Dolphins. At number 27, the Seahawks are disappointed that Jonathan Taylor is off the board, so they can't draft their running back of the future. So instead, they draft Yetur Gross-Matos, an edge defender. They're going to pair him with Jadeveon Clowney, who looks like he's likely going to sign back with Seattle because they need to really up that pass rush. And now they have, instead of having none of those guys, they have Clowney and they have Gross-Matos because that's what you want. You can't always have one pass rush. You want to have a pair because that ultimately makes it so one of them cannot see the double teams, so one of them can get open and get pressure to the quarterback position. At number 28, the Baltimore Ravens, they need some edge help as well, so they're going to go with Terrell Lewis. They'll, just really helped out the defense. Lamar Jackson's got that offense on lock, so we're going to go defense there with an edge player, Terrell Lewis. At 29, the Tennessee Titans, they lost Jack Conklin to the Cleveland Browns in free agency, so they need a right tackle, so they're going to pick up Austin Jackson here at right tackle to be their new starter come 2020 season to really help block for their franchise running back and their franchise quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. At number 30, the Green Bay Packers, they haven't really done a lot in free agency. They need to make a splash here in the draft, especially at the wide receiver position, get some more weapons for Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going with my guy Jalen Reagor out of TCU. He fits the mold perfectly. He is a field stretcher that is really the opposite of what Devontae Adams does, who's more of a technician and wins with his body and route running skills. Reagor can really open things up for the Green Bay Packers, and he's also an excellent punt returner, something that the Green Bay Packers really struggled at last year. They couldn't find a punt returner, and Jalen Reagor would automatically come in and probably be better than everyone that's already there as receivers, and Alan Lazard and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Geronimo Allison. Those guys are all just like Jags for the most part. So Rager would come in and make an immediate impact. And I would love him for fantasy football. At number 31, the 49ers back on the clock. And they're going to go with Cesar Ruiz. He is a guy that's a very flexible interior offensive lineman, moves really well, is very used to, some more complex offensive line schemes, which is really the Kyle Shanahan offense. And we've seen what happens when an offensive line is just cooking on all cylinders in that Kyle Shanahan scheme. Just look at the NFC Championship game with the 49ers running the ball down the throats of the Packers. So Cesar Ruiz is the play there because he's a very versatile player there at number 31 for the 49ers. And to wrap things up, guys, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to be going cornerback here, and they're going to be going with Jalen Johnson from Utah. He allowed just a 19.5 passer rating when targeted 10 yards down the field since 2018. Best in the Power 5 by a significant margin. I think that he's a very underrated corner that not enough people are talking about because he had some post-combine surgery. But I do think that ultimately he is the best corner here on the board that's available for the Chiefs at 32. So, guys, that's going to wrap us up for this 2020 NFL mock draft. Hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you thought. What you would do, what you agree, what you don't agree with in the comments below. And yeah, we'll hopefully be back with some more mock drafts. But again, everybody stay safe and get ready because the NFL draft is coming. So let's get excited.